Hello and welcome to the Radical Podcast, inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root. We explore the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
This season is all about divination, tarot, and the power held within our intuition. This is The Radical with Nicole and Christina, the two metaphysical girls in the material world. Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Nicole.
And this is Christina.
Today's episode, our 77th actually, is about the Fool card, the very first card in the major arcana, card 0. Technically, this is Uranus's card. And I learned some cool stuff.
I did too. I had a lot of fun with
I
this
wonder if
card.
we discovered the same information.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope my goal is to surprise Christina and teach her something, but we'll see.
I always try to do the same thing. I always try to, and then what usually happens, listeners, is that we realize that we were both drawn to the same pieces of information.
So I'm excited. I have one little quote about the Fool card, and then Christina has her list. We'll get into card comparisons, and messages from the universe today are from the Archangel Oracle deck by Christina Oroche. Okay, so the Fool progresses through the lessons and events shown by each card of the major arcana, growing, experiencing, and maturing as his consciousness evolves. This is the path of unfolding consciousness, a symbol of the Fool's willingness to meet life's challenges in order to make progress. Acknowledge that the lessons you encounter will lead to expanded consciousness and unforeseen opportunities. They are a part of your personal and spiritual evolution. And that came from my guided tarot book by Stephanie Capone.
Nice. I like that. Personal evolution. Personal spiritual evolution. It's not about how we look and what we have with us, which is one of the main themes of the Fool card that we are starting to get into right now. The card name is the Fool. It was called L'amat il matto in French and Italian, and that's for the madman, the beggar, the jester, the idiot. Kind of this almost a negative connotation of someone who is at a lower status or at a disadvantage or at a place outside of society. And we'll talk more about why that is and then what it represents today. But those are some names that you might hear this card called. And the card number is 0, the cosmic egg, which is the number of infinite potential. Element is air. Is this, if you're doing yes or no card pull and you pull the Fool card, it is a yes. Take the leap. You're already there. You're already walking towards the cliff. This is like, just go for it. The zodiac sign, it's associated with Uranus's Aquarius because this card is ruled by the planet Uranus. We talked about the planet Uranus, the episode previous to this one. We talked about Uranus and the personalities of the planets. You could go back and listen to those. But just to touch on some of the main themes of Uranus is awakening and revolution, freedom, individuality, also innovation, technology, collective change, humanitarianism, and also disruption, chaos, evolution. The 11th house is the house tied to this card, again, because of the influence of Uranus. The correspondences, the Hebrew letter is Alph, A-L-E-P-H. Do you know that this is a silent letter? It has no sound. It's just breath or just prana.
Oh.
Yeah. And it is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So there's a lot of interesting attributes to this letter. Oh my gosh, we need to do the letters one season when we're moving through the year. The symbol, as we use the Hebrew letters with our tarot cards, is the ox, and the meaning is instinct and also endurance. For the tree of life, this is the first pathway between the spheres of Kether and Chakma. Kether, ruled by Pluto, is crown and creation. It is the center first sphere. Chakma, ruled by Neptune, is the sphere of wisdom and insight, and that is the top sphere on the right-handed pillar. The Fool guides the pathway between those two spheres. Guides? What's the word I'm looking? Guides the pathway? Hosts the pathway? Rules the pathway. For the chakra to go, the chakra associated with the Fool tarot card, in my book, the author has the crown, Sahasrara, representing pure consciousness, divine guidance, and that pure potential, limitless potential, and also new beginnings. I thought about what the card means to me, and I asked myself, what chakra is the embodiment of hope and trust? And that is what I use to help me kind of think about the energy for me. And I landed on the heart chakra, Anahata. And it can be considered a center of profound trust, of like blind trust, of hope and unconditional love. That's what I read in the main themes of this card and the chakra that goes with it. And I asked Nicole before we hit record what chakra she thought, and you came up with.
I also said the heart. That made sense to me. The Fool card, if I had to just off the top of my head describe it, this is the leap of faith card to me. And that it's exactly what Christina said. To me, that's like a heart-centered experience to take a leap of faith. You want something, you go for it. But the crown, I can see that perspective also, especially learning about the pathway that this card rules on the tree of life. And you get crown from Pluto and wisdom and insight from Neptune. So I guess depending on what feels most important to you.
Because we'll talk about the symbols, talk a little bit about symbols and history and themes and then card comparisons, and different energies come up when we do that. The other note I wanted to say about the chakras for this card is also another author had the root chakra, because it is a card of beginnings. I can intellectualize that. I understand that. But for me, what I feel is the heart chakra. And I guess that's the other part that's fun when we do card studies and we do the studies of planets and archetypes and crystals, is that we have the information and then we have our wisdom. We have what we feel about it. Speaking of crystals, one of the websites I look at has the clear quartz for the Fool card. And that is because the Fool represents those new beginnings, innocence, and unlimited potential. And that is what clear quartz is. It is the master healer. It aligns with those themes of this card of beginnings and innocence and potential, because clear quartz is all of those things. But I went with aventurine. It popped into my head because I always think aventurine sounds like adventure. You're starting on an adventure. I didn't know a lot. I might have a piece of aventurine, but it's not one of the stones that I'm very drawn to. You know how you have some stones that you know exactly where they are, what they're doing, what shape they are. Aventurine, I'd have to go search for it. But this is a high vibration stone, and it is lucky. It's for prosperity. It's for emotional healing. It's called the Stone of Opportunity, which I liked a lot in thinking of the Fool's journey and taking that first step, that this would be a good stone to have in your pocket for harnessing life's experiences and harnessing life's opportunities. And it also is that green color, so it can be closely associated with the heart chakra. Out of the stones I own and that I use the most, The stone that I would pick up for the Fool card is jade. Because we talked about blind trust, profound hope. Now I need luck. And even though jade has as a powerful stone of serenity, wisdom, and protection, it's deeply tied to the heart chakra, unconditional love, emotional balance, but also good luck and fortune. It can also be very grounding, so it keeps you with your head is in the clouds, but your feet are on the ground as you're about to step off that cliff.
What about clear quartz when you asked me before we started recording? Because the phrase how 0 is everything and nothing, I kind of thought about that with clear quartz and the colors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how I guess the color white is really just all the colors in the color spectrum. Isn't that because they're being reflected? Anyway, along those lines, the everything and nothing with
Mm-hmm.
the 0.
But it's fun to think about it in that way, because I don't possess all the crystals. I have a very small collection of crystals, and I don't care to purchase any more. Now I collect rocks and seeds and things. I collect things from nature now. I work with what I've got. I like to read about crystals and think about crystals, but then when I look at what I have, I just choose what works the best with what I have. All right, moving on to the card. Symbols in history. I'm going to talk about a few of the symbols. There's a lot more. We'll talk more about them in card comparison and we'll highlight more of them. But I'm talking about the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the one that we're using kind of as like the baseline for pulling out some of these common symbols. The first one is the youth. The central character of this card is generally represented as someone young, someone who's a novice, like the Sorcerer's Apprentice that's another name that this card has been called. Someone who might be starting out, or then we draw in the beggar and the jester and the madman element of this. Someone who is outside of the structured class, who might not have all the advantages. Like, we've talked about other cards where people were going on a journey and they had cloaks and backpacks and swords and cups and they had all kinds of things. The Fool essentially has the clothes on their back and a little bag on a stick. That is one of the themes of this, is that it's someone who might not physically be prepared for the journey. Like, they're not dressed for travel, but it represents a naive, innocent spirit and ready for adventure in the way that it's come as you are. There's no time like the present. But that's that character energy of this card. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, there's a red feather, and in some of the other cards, you'll see that red feather, which represents that life force, vitality. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, that red feather is crumpled in the Death card. You'll see it again as being vibrant in the Sun card and the World card, which we just did recently. Another symbol that connects very closely to the youth and innocence is a white rose, or generally a white rose. Sometimes it'll be a rose. It could be a different color, but the white rose is purity, but also freedom from base desires. And that is also why it's a youth or somebody who's on the edges, or somebody who's on the fringe of society, who's not held by the same rules as a merchant or as a clergy or as somebody else. That's also why the character could be shown as a jester or as a vagabond. But the white rose, purity and freedom. Sometimes there's a butterfly with the rose, and that's for dreams and spirit on top of that innocent and free feeling. Okay, we got to talk about the cliff. The leap of faith. I read a wonderful article on tarotcake.com, and they show a lot of Fool cards. I hope one day to have as many tarot decks as that author does. It is fantastic to see them compare. And in the ones that they shared, and in a lot of the other ones that I've seen, there is a cliff. There is an actual physical step, dive, leap, jump, walking through something, walking into something. That symbolizes the threshold of a new reality, the first steps of your spiritual, physical, hero's, fool's journey, whatever it might be. But the cliff and the sky and the jaggedness sometimes of the cliff and the mountains shows that there are risks involved. There is an element of unknown. It's not a safe step. Let's put it that way. And most of the cards, it doesn't look like something that I want to do, to step off the edge of the cliff. The Fool is going to do it anyway, but it's clear that it is going to be a life-changing step. it is not onto a pile of fluffy clouds. There are risks. I really like the dog or the animal companion. A lot of times it's a small white dog. I've seen other colored dogs. I've seen other types of animals. But the animal with the person shows intuition and instinct, that you still have access to it. So you're this pure being. The Fool is this pure, innocent being, but you're not alone. The Fool is not alone. The Fool has a loyal companion who is helping them with their connection to intuition and instinct. There's also the warning to pay attention to your surroundings. But I like most of all thinking that you're generally not alone on your journey. Sometimes we just have to look around. And that companionship isn't always in the form of another person. Sometimes it's in the form of our own intuition or, another being around us. Always trust your instincts. Okay, I don't want to tell you how long I researched. What's the name of a bag on a stick? And there's an American bag on a stick. There's a European bag on a stick. There's an Australian bag on a stick. There's lots of different stories about people traveling with a bag on a stick. I like the different interpretations of it too in one of my decks because it's about a witch's garden. It's a garden hoe is the stick that's used in that one. In many European and medieval and later contexts, this was a way of showing somebody who was a wanderer, not a person on a journey, not like on a boat with their baggage or with their backpack or with their things, but somebody who, again, doesn't have a lot of worldly possessions and in a way doesn't really, well, I'm not going to say they don't care about the worldly possessions, but the point is that it's not about the worldly possessions. They were used to carry clothes, food, and like craftsman tools. In U.S. history, it's tied closely with hobos and people who would travel the country by train. They would have bandanas or a certain look to it. It was called a hobo stick, but it's specifically called a bindle. And the stick is called a bindle stick. That's generally what it's called, like if we looked it up in the encyclopedia, and then it has lots of other names. But it's essentially somebody who's traveling light and is not bothered by worldly possessions or doesn't have worldly possessions because it's not really about the destination. It's about the journey, if that makes sense. It represents limited and necessary possessions, but also limited and necessary knowledge, carrying something into the unknown. You can't pack everything you have to go on a spiritual journey. And this card is telling you that. It doesn't matter what you're carrying. You can't bring it all with you. You have everything you need. You can't be weighed down. That is when moving into the themes, and I read in one of them, what is the most important part of your journey as a theme is your beginner's mind. That it doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter what you're carrying. It doesn't matter that you're about to step off a cliff. You have everything you need, and you have to just hope and trust that you're on the right path. On tarotcake.com, I pulled this quote. The gift of this card is it teaches us to take heed of the untamed, hopeful, childlike part inside of all of us, the part that believes in a better world, a kinder future, and our own infinite potential. So you pack like a 5-year-old running away from home because it doesn't matter what you're taking, because what you need is already inside of you. And that talk about themes, and that's tied to the humble beginnings of this card as the beggar, the idiot, or the madman. Basically symbols of poverty or symbols of not being prepared. Doesn't matter, because this isn't a material worldly journey. This is a spiritual journey. This is you have everything you need inside of you. What we need is trust and hope and what's in our hearts and that beginner's mind.
I think it's worth mentioning that Aquarius rules fringe groups. So that's coming into play with this card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk about 0. 0 is the chameleon, the great enhancer, the multiplier, and the gateway to infinity and immortality. I found that on worldnumerology.com. 0 is a quick amplifier. If you add a 0 to any number, it goes from 1 to 10 to 100. Hence the multiplier and gateway to infinity idea.
Are you going to say it also goes the other way? That you could also...
Well, that's true. Yes.
You put a 0 in front of it, and then it's less and less and less, smaller and smaller. So infinitely bigger and smaller.
Yes, true. In numerology, 0 is considered to be nothing, but also everything. In Taoism, 0 represents the void. In Kabbalah, 0 represents limitlessness. Pythagoras saw it as the origin of all things. Within its circular shape, 0 becomes a universal symbol of wholeness and totality. It is endless, unmanifested, and self-contained. It is considered to be the raw material of creation. It is the unmanifested energy that holds all sorts of potential. And that came from tarotcleyspeaking.com, I guess is how you would say that website. I loved that. That 0 is nothing and everything, the beginning and the end. It is a wild card because when the divine presence is strong, absolutely anything can happen. I feel it represents the energy of the miraculous because of that. And that was from Alana Fairchild. So good information on our integer 0, because 0 is not a number. Okay. This is my fun fact, and I don't know if Christina knew this, so we're going to see. I pulled this from tarotcleyspeaking.com also. I'd never been on this website before, and I learned so much about the history of this card. And it made me, what I'm about to share, made me think of how, again, the planets reveal themselves to us and how astrology evolved with the new planets, but tarot did too. And it's in alignment with the evolution of human consciousness overall, like from a collective standpoint. So, the direction of the main character in the card has changed. In the Marseille Tarot, the Wanderer is walking towards the right, whereas in the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, he's moving to the left. The left side is considered to be that of the unconscious world and have yin energy. The author said female energy, but we know that means yin energy. The time of the Marseille Tarot was around between the 17th and the 18th centuries. And in that world, we were looking for logic, science, rational answers, and using our rational conscious minds to think and solve tangible problems. But this article goes on to say that, however, the journey and the quest certainly changed by the time the Rider-Waite-Smith deck came out. By the 19th century, the quest was about discovering the hidden and mysterious aspects of the spiritual and inner worlds within our psyche. The direction of the Fool changed and is now showed a person seeking to learn more about the unconscious world. And I wrote, we mentioned it in the last episode, but Rider-Waite-Smith, that deck was published in 1910. Pluto was discovered in 1930. And right at the same time, Pamela Smith decided to draw the Fool facing a different direction. Did you know that?
I knew the details of the card historically, but I did not notice, or I did not key in on the change direction of the main character. I could tell you about the ripped pants and the little dog, but I didn't key in on like, oh, they are walking. That character is walking to the right, and that character is walking to the left.
Yeah.
How about that?
I won't go like super far into it, but on this website, she also talks about how the Fool used to be between Judgment and the World in the Marseille Tarot, and then it got moved. And she explains why that change occurred.
Mm-hmm.
But very interesting. So by shifting the Fool to the left, there's this focus more so on our inner world, our inner journey. And by moving the Fool from in between the Judgment in the World to the beginning, we are being asked to discard our fears, our conditioning at the beginning of the journey rather than towards the end, is kind of the idea in a nutshell.
How about that?
Yeah, so that was fun. That was fun to learn. So for my card comparison, the Zodiac Tarot, we have a figure standing at the edge of the cliff. What I noticed right away is the bindle or the knapsack is not there.
Oh.
Our friend doesn't have a companion or that flower. To me, as Christina was talking about the meaning of these symbols, what I thought about was, I don't know if the person in the Zodiac Tarot expects to be going on a journey. I think their stepping off the cliff is going to take him or her by surprise.
And also, you, in some ways, can never be prepared for it. It will just happen when it's meant to happen.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's sort of like, it doesn't matter what's in your bag. When it's time to go, you're going to, when it's time to start, it's going to start, right?
Yes. The other thing that I noticed was the author and illustrator is using the platinum symbol to convey that this is Uranus's card rather than that Herschel, that globe with the H Herschel symbol that looks like a satellite. She chose to use the platinum symbol. And as we talked about in the last episode, the platinum symbol for Uranus comes from the combination of the iron and gold symbols that belong to Mars and the sun. So with her choosing that symbol, there's a little connection to Mars. There's a little connection to the tower that brings in that suddenness and unexpected energy. In my Medicine Woman Tarot deck, this card is named Seed. There's a figure dressed in yellow standing on the edge of a grassy cliff, tossing seeds off the edge of the cliff. She has like a bowl of seeds in one hand and she's tossing seeds with her other hand. And down below there's a lot of like lush greenery. There's some trees, a stream, a mountain, a really nice naturescape. The sun beams down and the color scheme of this card matches the clothing the Fool is wearing in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck perfectly. It's like she just
Cool.
used the same the same colors. In my Antique Anatomy Tarot, there is a right foot and leg stepping forward. So taking a, that step of faith. um the right foot and leg are surrounded by red, yellow, and blue flowers. And these are, of course, the three primary colors. And according to gelpress.com, in the traditional color wheel, primary colors are represented as red, yellow, and blue. These colors are considered primary because they cannot be created by mixing other colors together. They are the building blocks for creating all other colors. Primary colors are essential for our perception of color. Each primary color corresponds to specific ranges of wavelengths, which our eyes interpret as color. So there's a metaphor in there for sure with the building blocks of colors and primary colors being essential for how we perceive color. And in Mystic Mondays, my last card, there is a figure with a long flowing skirt, kind of like almost like a ballerina or like a dancer kind of a vibe.
Very
She also
flowy.
has, yes, long flowing hair.
Mm-hmm.
The cliff kind of looks like a crystal or like an iceberg. It's kind of blue and icy. And she's standing at the very edge of it with arms wide open, almost like she's going to dance right off the edge.
Yeah.
There's a sun shining down. The background, the sky is like this warm, corally color. And it's like the warmth of the sun reaches only so far. And then we notice that there's this dark, deep blue color where the sun doesn't quite reach all the way down there, like below the cliff. So to me, that's saying you can take your leap of faith and you can choose to do it, but there will definitely be moments of darkness and unknowns on your
Mm-hmm.
hero's journey. We know what lies ahead. There's the death card, the devil card. There's going to be these moments of good and bad. And I think the way the sky changes color conveys that. And then the figure in her outstretched hand holds an icy blue colored rose. It kind of matches the color of the crystal cliff, if you will. And light blue can represent truth and knowledge. And I kind of saw her flower as representing the shoulder bag because this is what this character is taking on her
Mm-hmm.
journey, what she's gathered from her experiences, and that is what she's taking with her truth and her knowledge. And those are my cards.
Okay, I'm going to start my card comparison with the Spirit Song Tarot. It's card 0, called the Traveler. The gazelle is the spirit animal chosen with the 2 keywords of adventure and potential. A group of gazelle is called a herd or a troop. Gazelle are small, swift antelope found in African and Asian savannas and deserts. They are fast, they are agile, they can leap 10 feet in the air. They can outmaneuver predators, and they can outlast a lot of the predators too on long chases. The gazelle as a spirit animal symbolizes grace, agility, and awareness, with the ability to swiftly navigate challenges and be adaptable to those changes. There's a strong sense of intuition and quick shifts away from negativity for this animal as like a spirit animal. And it represents beauty and freedom and resilience and a deep connection with the dynamic balance of life because of the nature of the the life it leads in the, the being the prey and the predator and the open savanna, times of plenty and times of drought. It's a very resilient, very adept animal. It is also considered the spirit animal of the heart chakra. Have you
Well,
seen
there
that?
you go.
For the Wild Unknown Tarot, this is card 0, the Fool. The keywords are spontaneity and innocence. In this card, it's a very warm card. It's orange and yellow in the background, which makes me think of the sun. And there's a little waterfowl. It could be a duck, it could be a swan, it could be a goose. I don't know what the young of waterfowl look like. So I didn't want to call it a duck because I was like, what if it's like the swan? You remember the story of the ugly duckling, which would totally fit with the hero, because it's not about how you look. It's not about what you have. It's what you're growing into. It's the journey. And this little creature is about to take its first step off of its branch, and the branch is got little blossoming flowers on it, and we cannot see what's underneath that branch. We don't know if it's going into the water. We don't know if it's going into land. It is a very hopeful, very I want almost cozy card to me. I do want to help the little baby waterfowl though.
Me too.
The author writes in the guide, this card is about beginnings. It points to the side of you that is spontaneous, excited, naive, and inexperienced. Others may doubt your abilities. Be ready to be called fool. Be ready to fall. No matter what people say about you, this is your journey, and it is ready to begin. That's Kim Kranz, the author of that. But isn't that just like, that's it. You're going to fail. You're inexperienced. You're not prepared. It's going to happen anyway. So you might as well just go with an open heart. In the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, it's card 0, Fool, keyword beginning. This is a beautiful, to me, echo of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck card. It has a character very similar, similar background, different dress, a little more it looks very much like an elf to me, with like the boots that are shaped like leaves, and it's all in green, and the character has this beautiful silver hair, the red feather behind the ear. And this is the card that the bindle stick is a garden hoe, because this is the Secrets of the Witch's Garden. The character has one book. It's discarded a book. The little dog is there as the companion. And in one step, the character is going to walk off the edge of the cliff. It's a beautiful reimagining. There is another companion to the witch in that card. There's a little fairy close to the backpack, and there's a red rose and a white rose or white flower. There's the element of the knowledge and the information you're taking with you, but also what you're leaving behind. And the character is not alone, but also a little unprepared on top. You know what I mean? That's one of the themes of this card. You're never going to be all the way prepared for this. And the author writes in their guidebook, the secret of the fool is trusting what unfolds in every moment. Sometimes this isn't a journey, a big journey. It's every moment we're having the energy of learning something new, being challenged, being resistant, and then doing it anyway. Isn't there that phrase of do something that scares you every day? And that doesn't mean like physical scared. It could be just, driving home a different way or trying a new food.
Like talk to a new person, like strike up a conversation with a stranger.
Yeah.
Not like stranger danger. That's like a bad example too. We are not good example generators today.
What we want to say is something scary doesn't have to be something menacingly scary. It could just be something new, but it's still scary to us because it's new. Okay, and then my last card is from the Sacred She, card number 0, and it's called Beginning. This card feels so warm and so hopeful and so inviting. There's a central character with long flowing dark hair. The character's facing away from us towards the sun. The sun is close to the horizon. It could be rising or setting, but the character's facing the sun, flowing dark hair, flowing clothing, rainbow wings, rainbow clothing. To me, that just feels like the character has the energy of all the elements, has the energy of all the chakras. And there's a pink lotus in the hair on the top of the character's head. So that is that crown chakra, thousand petaled lotus, the connection to the cosmic and the connection to the divine. Beautiful card. The author writes here, beginning initiates a vibrant journey of transformation that requires openness and a mighty leap of faith. This character, that card, is standing on clouds or about to fall through the clouds, and the sun is above. There's a layer of thick, dark purple and dark pink clouds that look very inviting to me, but then underneath that is the starry sky.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to my Mystic Mondays, how
Mm-hmm.
it's pink and corally and then
Mm-hmm.
kind of dark at the bottom.
And the character in the Mystic Mondays has the roads. The character in the Sacred Sheet just has the lotus flower, symbolizing what they're bringing, symbolizing all they need. Yeah. That's a beautiful card. I haven't drawn that card in any of the time that I've used that deck, so I really got drawn into it when I was putting together my notes for this. I was like, oh, and there's a lotus. Oh my goodness, look, it's starry sky underneath the clouds. Is the sun setting or is it rising? It's a beautiful card. It just captures my imagination.
Okay, so a summary. That's the word. A summary. So the Fool card can represent free-spiritedness, spontaneity, and enthusiasm, exploration, play, curiosity, and open-mindedness, pure potentiality, unimagined possibility, creativity, opportunity, carefreeness, sprightliness, lightheartedness, leap of faith, the beginning of a journey, seeds planted, an initiation, a new experience, a new way of perceiving, the unknown, and being visionary or non-conforming, and originality. Thanks to Aquarius. And this card to me is a couple of different archetypes. We have the wanderer or the explorer. And if we think back to our podcast, May the 4th be with you, the example character for this archetype, Indiana Jones. There's also a little bit of the innocent archetype, and a good character for this one is Buddy the Elf. There is sort of a childlike naivety, having that childlike wonder.
Buddy the Elf is like perfect Fool energy, coming from a different place, not being prepared, clothes on his back. The clothes don't fit the society that he's going into, but he is so open-hearted and so genuine and so earnest and so hopeful and trustful. Oh my gosh, it's Buddy the Elf. And not just because it was green and yellow. That's the color. That seems to be the color theme. Yeah, that seems to be the color theme. But oh my gosh, Buddy the Elf is the Fool tarot card.
Yes. I would also say that maybe there's a little bit of the rebel and the outlaw also. The character for that archetype is Han Solo. So, yeah, a little bit of Uranus, a little bit of Aquarius, a little bit of the Fool. I also just want to, I didn't type this, but a journey, whether or not you're quote unquote prepared for it or expecting it. One interesting thing that I came across was this idea that once you take your first step, you're not actually falling off the cliff. There's this idea that the cliff will like regenerate, and by the time you put your foot down, there's a place for you to step. So
That's from Indiana Jones. Do you remember that? I don't remember which movie it was, but he had to throw the sand down. The bridge was made to look exactly like the rocks behind it. So he had to take the step of faith. Do you remember that part of the movie?
Kind of. It's been a while, but it reminded me, I
Because
don't
the
know,
step is there. He had to have faith, but as
yeah.
soon as he put his foot down, he didn't fall off the cliff. Then he was on his pathway.
And like, to me, it's not so important whether or not this like concept of the path generating in front of you, like, it's a leap of faith whether you fall off the cliff or the path regenerates. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by this is there's this meme. It's been around for a while. It's called The Illustrated Guide to a Spiritual Awakening. And it looks kind of like the Fool card. There's a person standing at the edge of the cliff, and there's a big hand about to like flick the person off the cliff. And the hand is labeled the universe. And then there's a hand underneath the cliff that I would say isn't visible. Like, we don't know it's there when we're about to take a leap of faith that there's going to be a solution or something to catch us. It's kind of like the hand that is also the universe that is positioned to catch us once we jump or fall or get flicked off the cliff. It's like that hand resides in that dark part of the card that we can't see, but we have to trust that it's there. So to me, it's more so about like the trust and the faith and these other energies than like whether or not the path unfolds.
Mm-hmm. Is physically there.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So in reverse, this card could convey recklessness, carelessness, or impulsivity. Not that you really think through a leap of faith, but we do see in some of the cards there's some elements of preparation. So where that fine line is between a leap of faith and being reckless, we might not
Mm-hmm.
even know when we do it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, in 2021, I packed up my car and drove to Colorado. That at the time felt like a leap of faith and pretty impulsive. And and you just have to see where it goes. In reverse, this card could also be being like too naive, too unprepared, too inexperienced in that realm of being reckless and careless. It could also mean clinging to old methods or being fearful of change,
Mm.
hesitating, analysis paralysis. Like when you're at the edge of that cliff and you're like, do I jump or not? It's not the time for spreadsheets and pros and cons and all that. It's like, go or don't go.
Yeah. And, the question from The Secrets of the Witch's Garden to write the reversal, how can I start over?
Mm.
So there it is. Start over. How can I start over?
I don't normally pull questions from the Light Seers tarot field notes, but I thought two of them were really good. It says, if you knew the universe would catch you mid-flight, which that meme kind of illustrates, where would you leap? What would you do if you knew that hand was in the darkness waiting to catch you? And then one of the other prompts is, imagine two wise guides named Playfulness and Enthusiasm. What counsel do they have for you? Love that. I am ready for the messages if you are.
I am. I was just thinking about if I have had a experience with the Fool card, and I haven't. I get it as part of readings, but maybe that means that I've got a journey coming up that
Ooh.
yeah. But I don't. I mean, I don't have any personal stories about it. Anyway, I'm ready for the message from the universe.
Perfect. So I have 3 cards from the Archangel Oracle by Christina Aroche and artwork by Nina Catherine. Our first card is Archangel Haniel. I practiced before, I promise, and now I can't remember. Archangel Haniel, Haniel. It's like Daniel, but with an H.
Haniel.
Haniel.
Daniel Haniel. Daniel Haniel.
Archangel. Okay. Archangel Haniel. Inner healing. Divine wisdom is found through the inward healing journey. Trust the healing that is happening right now in your life. A profound shift is ready to take place. Archangel Haniel is guiding you into a higher level of truth, and the only way through is by healing what is coming up. You can no longer ignore this issue, so trust that this wound or trigger is actually meant to bring you into a deeper state of empowerment and wholeness in who you are. You were always whole, and now the healing journey is guiding you into the embodiment of this truth. You are being guided and supported through this healing process by Archangel Haniel. Call on her to hold a safe space of peace and divine love. Allow yourself to melt into her presence so that you may be vulnerable with your own self. Allow her healing presence to support you and bring your being into a greater state of peace. You are well taken care of as you walk this healing path. Card 2. Speak your truth. Allow the words to flow. Message from Archangel Sandalphon. You are being asked to speak up for yourself now. Hold yourself in your power and in the confidence of the truth you hold. Archangel Sandalphon comes through with this card to support you with standing strong and connected to your truth. There are moments in life where we must speak up for what we believe in. These moments can sometimes feel uncomfortable and awkward, which is why receiving this card invites you to work with Archangel Sandalphon to support you. You're being encouraged to connect with your throat chakra to feel the energy of your truth and expression of who you are. Next, feel the space of your solar plexus chakra in your abdominal area and the energy of your power getting ignited. Allow this power to travel up into your throat chakra and down into the earth to get grounded in your truth and confidence to speak the truth. This card is reminding you that what you have to say is important and that right now is the time to speak up for yourself. When we speak with clarity and confidence, it allows our truth to be received and heard. When the time comes to actually speak up and share your truth, you can call on Archangel Sandalphon and ask him to support you with your speaking and expression. This card is also a confirmation that whatever truth has been on your heart, now is the time to bring it into form. If you've been wanting to write or teach on a certain topic, now is the time to do so. And card 3, Archangel Ariel, Grounded Manifestations. Archangel Ariel is coming forward to support you in making aligned and grounded decisions when it comes to your manifestations and desires. She is reminding you that in every moment you get to choose to align with your intentions of what you are creating in your life. Archangel Ariel is here to remind you that you hold powerful creative energy and that you get to choose in each day and each moment the frequency that you are connected to. Through this process, you're embodying, aka grounding, the energy of your desires. Call on Archangel Ariel to help lead you in the decisions that you are making today. This includes the thoughts you choose to think and the actions you choose to take, as well as the stories that you choose to believe in. She is helping you to discern between what is aligned with your truth and desired outcome and what is not. She is also guiding you to take the time today to connect with nature and Mother Earth to help bring through and ground the spiritual energy of your desires. And those were our messages today. Thank you, universe. And we'll be back. Is it just me, or did Aquarius season go fast? It went fast because we're already at Pisces next week.
I know. And it's the same amount of time because it's 4 weeks, sometimes 5, but it did fly by.
So we'll be back next week with the Moon Tarot card. Until then, listeners, thank you and we love you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. The Radical Podcast is created and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music. Stay in touch with us at linktr.ee/theradicalpodnc.